Hi, I am so tired, but I've been wanting to make this video for a few days and I have never had the time. So there's no better time than the present. And I also think that being on the verge of actual sleep deprivation is going to make this video a bit more funny. So you're welcome. This has been annoying me for several days and it has just existed there for so long. Um, and also, I need to not say bad words anymore because you want to know what annoys me about YouTube's system is that it will just pick and choose the most random videos to age restrict, and it'll just come seemingly out of nowhere because the video called Perspective, where I flip the camera upside down for the entire video, I said the F word like maybe 7 times at most. But that video called The Books Are Stupid, I Hate Books video, that one where basically every other word was a curse word, no restrictions there. I could monetize that. But the perspective video is the one that gets age restricted. I've stopped caring. I've stopped caring about a lot of things. It's made my life a lot more enjoyable. If I'll be honest, is just stop caring about anything really. So, the video that you are watching is supposed to be about the midterms that are coming up. It is actually, it's 3 weeks away exactly now because it's Wednesday now. Um, yeah, and the what sprung this video into existence was because I went back and I looked through the Can Anyone Beat Trump video from April. And I was like, how close are my predictions to coming true? And the thing is that I had no idea that there were hardly any Senate races up for grabs. So the Senate is kind of a toss up right now. If you have if you're living in a state with a Senate race this year, please, I am using one hand to pray right now. Please, please go out and do your part to save this country. Because I was thinking of staying home for the midterms, but then I actually saw the ballot measures and weed is back on the docket in North Dakota. So it's like, I mean, we need as many people to get out there and finally vote this into legalization. I mean, we haven't even gotten to, I don't even think, no, we do have medical. We do have medical. We are trying to pass recreational right now. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so hopefully, this time. Maybe this will be the time that it happens. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I said that it would be 60-40 in the Senate, which is literally impossible because there's not enough Senate elections taking place this cycle for it to be 60-40. So if I had to amend that estimation, I would amend it to 60-40 of the races that are happening. But if that was the case, if it was 60-40 for the races that are happening, there would still be a Democrat majority in the Senate. And I'm hoping so much right now. I have a lot of confidence in this election because the momentum has just not even swung. It's been in Republicans' hands since I made that video last. And like I said in that video, it would take a lot for this to change. And it did for a second. The Roe decision was a significant blow, rightfully so. I still think that overturning Roe v. Wade was not the correct way to go about changing that whole system. But it looked pretty bad for a second, just for that long, like a minute. Like it was like a real minute there where I was like, uh-oh, uh-oh. But it appears to have actually swung more heavily in favor of Republicans as of lately, because specifically in Arizona, if you are in Arizona, oh my God, vote. Please. Please. Every vote is going to count in Arizona. Every single one. Even though Kerry Lake looks to be pulling away by a significant margin, like 4% in some polls, don't trust it. Go. Please go vote. Please vote for Kerry Lake. The most annoying election this midterms is in Pennsylvania, because we either have to choose a man with brain damage to rival that of Joe Biden. Just the I mean, all they had to do in Pennsylvania, all the Democrats in Pennsylvania had to do was just put someone fully functional into that race against Dr. Romney. That's all they had to do, and they were going to win it. Instead, they put up a man barely clinging on to life, who is in worse shape than Joe Biden, which is saying something. They put him in that race. I still hope Fetterman wins, because Dr. Romney is the worst possible thing that could happen to the Senate. We don't, or whatever race it is, the worst possible thing that could happen to the legislature, because Dr. Romney, we don't need another Romney. For the love of God, we don't need more Romneys. Down with the Romneys, please. Oh, that is the one race this cycle that I want to go to the Democrats. No to Romney. No to Dr. Romney. Oh. But if this video was just going to be me amending my predictions, because I said that it was going to be a 10 to 15 seat Republican advantage after the midterms, it actually looks like it's going to be more. And I feel like that was a bit of a conservative estimate on my part. But you see, the thing is that you don't need every single seat to have a majority. You just need one extra seat to have the majority. So even if somehow the House isn't a total red wave and it's only by like 6 or 7 seats, they're still going to be able to stonewall legislation. They're still going to be able to stonewall the anti-American agenda. They're still going to be able to do it. It's just not going to look as good, right? It's just not going to be like, everyone voting correctly, which is rare to begin with. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like just voting in Republicans is going to fix anything, because if anything, the lack of proactivity from the part of the GOP during like Obama's entire administration is kind of why we're in the situation that we're in right now, which is a bad situation. But if we can get enough votes to block everything from going through for the next 2 years, maybe we can still pull out of this, and the country itself can survive long enough for some kind of meaningful change to take place in 2024. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I believe that's going to happen or anything, but we can always hope. We can always hope that there will be meaningful change at some point in our, grandchildren's lifetime, right? But so I can say all this stuff, and like I said, we just need one extra seat in the Senate. The Senate's going to be scary because it's way closer than I initially suspected back in April, because I didn't know that there just wasn't enough elections taking place for there to be any meaningful impact from like a red wave. Like even with a red wave, it's going to be close in the Senate. And if we can get both the House and the Senate, that's going to be huge to just surviving to 2024. I'm going to be worried if we don't get the Senate to turn red, but just picking up the house by itself is going to make such a huge difference. Like it's going to make a noticeable difference. At least I hope it does. So that was going to be this entire video, was just me backtracking on what I said in April. But then I considered, like, okay, so I've been making these videos for a good 2 years, honestly. I've been doing the sit down in the car or in this chair conversation about the nonsensical stupidity that we put ourselves through in this stupid world that we reside in. And I've never really given any foundation for the political stances that I take. I've never really given a good explanation to the origins of why I believe what I believe. And we should really start back in 8th grade. Oh, this is not going to go in a good direction. In 2011, I just discovered the internet. I had just discovered, like, like the fact that, there are people with different opinions out there, right? It's not just the Catholic, pastors that everyone's parents are all Catholic. Everyone's parents everyone and their kids are all Catholic too. I didn't know that there were other options. And for the longest time, I just assumed that being gay was bad because every religious figure that I was told to look up to says that being gay is bad. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what it meant. All I knew was that it was bad. And that was an assumption I carried all the way through to high school. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. But when I first got on the internet, my main source of, like, political information was, like, 9gag, and that's scary. I'd always, during our computer courses, I always took computer courses because I like computers. And I always took those computer courses, right? Every morning when I go to those classes, the first thing I would do, well, like the 5 minutes before class started, is I would go to Huffington Post. Every single day, I would go to Huffington Post just to see what kind of stuff was going on in the world. And yeah, that really codified my views all the way up into, like, senior year of high school. I know I've mentioned this before, but I was actually still religious for a long time after first getting on the internet, and it was slowly chipped away, bit by bit, for about a year and a half until I was watching some George Carlin clips one night. And I remember it was June of 2012 when I was watching these clips, and that night I realized I don't think there's a God. And that is the stance that I've carried for most of the following years. Like, you've heard my, insane tirades about how the Lord communicates to me via my iPod while we're driving. You've heard that. Yeah, but for the most part, nope. That's been a hardline stance. And I used to be more anti-theist, but as of right now, I'm like, whatever. Like I said at the start of the video, I've stopped caring. Just do whatever the fuck you want. I said the F word, guys. This video is gonna get age restricted. Duh. Oh, YouTube, why do you have to exist? Yeah. But most of my views were formulated by Huffington Post, and then once I actually started preparing to start the YouTube channel, that's when I started watching Amazing Atheist, who used to be great and was really good for a long time. Everyone says that he peaked in 2011. False. Drunken Peasants. Prime Drunken Peasants was top tier Amazing Atheist. It was so good. So good. Every single stream was great. And like I watched all of Amazing Atheist videos from, like all the way up until, like 2013 when I was starting my channel. I watched basically everything that he put out, and I found myself agreeing with him on fundamentally just about everything. Um, and that was interesting, because now you look at the Amazing Atheist, and he's literally just a communist. He's actually just straight up a communist, and he hangs out with some of the most mind-numbingly stupid people you could imagine. Vosh, for example, and someone who's disappointed me. Actual Jake was part of the Bible Reloaded. Before that imploded, the rhymes that I'm spitting today are just straight fire. But Bible Reloaded was one of my favorite channels in high school. That was great. I think I listened to the entire atheist Bible study from the start of the fucking Bible to the end of the Bible. I need to stop saying the F word. I need to stop. I need to stop. I can't stop. I can't stop. It's just hardwired into my soul that I need to say this. I need to say these uncool things. Just about drop the phone. There we go. We're good. We're good. I am not wearing pants right now, but I am wearing underwear, so y'all can calm down. Um, yeah, but the thing is that the Drunken Peasants introduced me to so many more different perspectives, which is insane to think, considering where TJ's channel is now and where the remains of the Drunken Peasants is now. How they literally are just communists. It's such a sad sight to see too. But yeah, I was introduced to Sargon of Akkad entirely through the Drunken Peasants. If they hadn't had him on that one time to talk about, I think it was Brexit or something, I would have never heard of Sargon of Akkad. And that's the channel that really completely changed everything. I think because he was very well read. He continues to be very well read. And he's just doing the Ben Shapiro thing where it's just facts don't care about your feelings thing. He studies so much about the cultural rot that's taken hold in all of Western society. And if I hadn't found him through the Drunken Peasants, there's no telling where I would be now, because if it wasn't for Sargon of Akkad, I would never have found Tim Pool. I would never have found Count Dankula. I would probably have never found Styx Hexenhammer. There's just so much of the fundamental archetypes of what I think society should strive to go towards boils down to Sargon of Akkad, his early work, and even his current work. If it wasn't for that, who knows? Who knows where I would be in life? I don't want to think about it, because I was stuck in the mentality that, especially before the Drunken Peasants became a thing, I was stuck in the mentality that the right has no solutions to offer. That was the mentality that I had, is that if you're on the left, you're probably correct. If you're on the right, there's no way you're correct. That was the thought process that I had. I didn't even have the concept of centrism in my mind at that point. It was just, oh, inequality exists. Therefore, we should be on the left. That's the mentality that I had from 8th grade all the way up until the Drunken Peasants started, really. And that's such a fundamentally flawed worldview, is because there's a reason why mixed economies are the best economies. There's a reason why capitalism with a hint of socialism. I was trying to make a food reference, but I don't cook anymore. So a dash of socialism. There we go. That's why mixed economies are best, because 100% capitalism is bad and 100% socialism is bad. Mixed economies give you the best of both worlds and allow society to advance. But I didn't have that concept ingrained into my mind from about age 12 to age 17, because I had my boots dug in on the only people on the left matter bandwagon, right? And I'm so glad that that's not the case anymore, that I was able to pull myself out from that dangerous position. Um, and if you want to know where my life philosophy is really sitting, right now, there's two channels you should check out. First one, Sticks Hexenhammer. He doesn't care at all. He is a lot like me. Long flowing hair and does not care, right? Um 99, and the best part about Sticks is not only are most of his opinions correct, he is almost always correct about current events and like the goings on of the world and culture as a whole. He is correct 99.9% of the time. If Styx is talking about a subject, listen, because he is just like Sargon of Akkad. He is very well read. He's a writer himself. He always does his research. He's almost never wrong about anything, and that's what I appreciate the most about him, is that I can be someone who comes from the perspective that, okay, there's a good chance that if I watch this person, their built-in biases are going to affect everything they say, and even if they make a convincing argument, it would probably fall apart under scrutiny. But that's not the case with Styx. So definitely check out Styx. The other channel that really aligns with my life philosophies is Short Fat Otaku. Now I know what you're thinking. No, that he's a great channel. It's basically this guy who was just like me. He went to college as a light communist, and he escaped that and came out as a more enlightened, I want to say liberal centrist. It's tough to put labels on people when they're not present to defend themselves, but just go watch the videos. Some of them have very clickbaity titles, which it's YouTube, but everything that he's put out, I don't think I can't think of the last time I've disagreed with Short Fat Otaku on a political subject. I can't. Basically every video, if you just put any video of his on, I probably agree with what he's saying. But yeah, so those are the two channels. If you really want to fully understand where my thought process is in most things, those are the two channels to check out. And those channels, along with like Tim Pool and stuff, like I'll just watch periodically. I used to catch Tim Pool all the time. Whatever he'd upload, I'd watch, but now it's basically just like, oh, that video has a good title, I'll watch that one. But yeah, because Tim Pool's podcast has gotten a bit over the top as the years have gone on. Back when he had Adam as a co-host, it was probably the best podcast on the internet besides Joe Rogan, right? But then he dropped Adam like a bad habit. Like that was a rough breakup, if I recall. And he brought on Ian. He brought on Ian, who I actually agree with way more often than I agreed with Adam. And yet I think Adam was a better co-host, is the thing. But like Ian's probably the furthest left person on that podcast on a daily basis. But I find myself agreeing with him the most often because he approaches it from a more philosophical angle. And yeah, he does have some outlandish takes, but like I just respect that he's willing to stand up to the other guests when they're just going full on rightoid meltdown mode. He can step in and be like, please stop. I can respect that because Tim really doesn't control his guests very well. Kind of just lets them do whatever they want, which, I mean, fair enough. It's his show. He can do whatever he wants. But, yeah. So I guess that's this video. I really don't know how I'm still conscious, but you know how it is. I probably should not have driven back here. I'm sure I would not have passed a field sobriety test under the conditions that I'm in right now. But, yeah, so to tie this video all together, I am excited for the midterms. I have a very good feeling about everything, really. And don't forget, the polls are always wrong. The polls are always wrong. Do not have confidence that people will figure this out for themselves, right? You need to go out and vote if you are of legal voting age, of course. Because I know there are a lot of rapscallions that watch this channel still. Unfortunately, my core audience from the 2016 and 2017 days, they're still not of legal voting age. And it's like, why are there so many children on the internet? Children should not be on the internet. And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, back in my day, we played video games that were on discs. And when we put them in the console, we didn't have to wait 4 hours for them to start. They just had all the information on them and we could play. We didn't have to install anything. Yeah, Grandpa, shut up. Shut up, Grandpa. No, like, legitimately, the internet is a dangerous place for kids. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Because the odds that this gets demonetized to begin with is already high. Because I said the F word twice. Duh. I'm sorry. I hate being on this website, dude. I mean, the thing is that I just went hog wild. I have never policed my language on this channel. But suddenly, like, without changing anything in the YouTube monetization self-certification system, suddenly you just can't say bad words in videos anymore. No one told me anything about this. There were no updates to the community guidelines sent to me via Gmail, you know. It's not like anyone specifically went out and said, you can only say the F word once per video, not twice, not even 3 times. Only once. There was no email. There was no email for that. Anyway, this has been another thrilling episode of, I don't even know what this is anymore. This is just brain drain. The channel, this entire channel is just brain drain at this point. I mean, I'm just looking at Mac and I'm like, Mac looking like a snack. Oh, I want to take a bite out of this poor plushie. I am so tired. I'm so tired. I am so tired. Yeah. I got Girl Scout stuff because my boss's granddaughter is with Girl Scouts. Let me tell you, these are all right. These are good. I really like these. Like, just witness. Look at this. Look at this. It's like a tab of, like, I don't know what kind of drug is white besides cocaine, but this is like pure crystal meth, right? This is meth. And this is your mind on meth. This entire video is your mind on meth. Anyway, Corbin did nothing wrong. Bye.